Hello everyone and welcome to Cappuccino with HR. My name is Rudi Bauer and after 40 years in business I'm 100% sure that the success of companies is directly related to the passion of the people working for these companies. With the Cappuccino of HR we created a format where we really invite people, it's HR leaders, it's recruiters, it's talent acquisition guys, and we're talking about all the different kind of topics, and the range is going from AI of course to new work, to leadership, and all the challenges along the way. Yeah, hello and welcome to another episode of Cappuccino with HR. And today we have a topic which I really think is extremely important. We are talking about neuroinclusion, and Nadine Schomacker is with us. So Nadine, hello and welcome. It's really great that you take your time to talk about this really important topic. So hi, hope you're fine.
I'm very fine, thanks. And thank you very much for the invitation. I'm really happy that you see it the same way as me.
Yeah, and I think we have a really growing audience, and I think this topic is on a lot of stages. I think it gets more and more awareness, and it gets, fortunately, it also gets more and more traction to be discussed and to be a part of it. And I think if you want to stay future-proof as a company, you definitely need to understand three things. That's business, of course, that's technology with AI, of course, but it's also people and humans. And I think this topic is extremely becoming more and more important today. But before we start, may I ask you to briefly introduce yourself in a few sentences?
Sure. So I'm Nadine. I'm a consultant regarding neuroinclusion and neurodiversity. We discuss this a little bit later. Personally, I have a background in teaching. And after my traineeship, so the Referendariat in Germany, I switched to HR. And yeah, now after some personal life-changing incidents, neurodiversity came up my sleeve, and my daughter got an ADHD diagnosis. So this was like the first step into this direction, and I got very deep into the topic, and now I consult companies on that. And I'm very proud to hopefully change the workplace and the way we work for the better future, and especially for my daughter.
Really cool. And I have to ask you that as well, because I mean, it's called Cappuccino with HR. So Nadine, what's your favorite coffee?
Unfortunately, I don't drink coffee at all.
Okay.
But yeah, my favorite hot drink is probably hot chocolate with some marshmallows on top. So yeah, especially on a cold day.
That's a good one, especially in cold days and winter time. I think it's really great. Yeah. So before we dive into it, could you probably share what neurodiversity means? Because I think probably everybody's heard this term, but probably a lot of people don't even know what's behind it. So could you give us a quick summary, what you see behind it, what it means for you, but also what it means from scientific side?
So in short, neurodiversity is the biology diversity of neurological development of the brain. So to be more specific, it just means that each and everyone has a very individual brain and how it's function, how we process information, and it's very normal. So we have a lot of neurodivergencies like ADHD, autism, dyslexia, and so many more, where they're typically associate with neurodiversity, but in general, they all part of it. So we all have different ways of thinking, and yeah, this the sum of it all is just neurodiversity.
Why do you think is it so relevant for workplaces and the future of work now? I mean, it was there. I mean, it was always there. Probably it was there since there are humans on this planet. But why is it becoming so important now? What do you think is the reason for that?
I think the importance was never gone, but somehow due to the evolution, industrial evolution, for instance, we somehow came up with structures of how we work were very systematically build up for neurotypical or neuronormative people, because we said we just need one way and this will work for everyone. But to be honest, it's not how everything works, because we are not all the same. And due to globalization and a lot of new and very drastic influences we have today, I think this is something that came up again, and we are, yeah, how can you say, appreciating that this is the normal case. And more and more people say, I am not the standard. I am myself. I'm very individual, and I want to be, yeah, seen as individual. I don't be a number. And on the other hand, there are a lot of positive things and things we can use for innovation, productivity, and such. So this is something, especially we have like two different areas. One thing is the personal thing that people want to be more than just a number, and the other side is that companies see the positive side of support their employees on that thing to be more innovative, more productive, and stuff. So I think, and these things come together, and then we can build beautiful things on it.
If you start consulting projects with companies, if you're going into companies and if you're meeting them first time, I mean, where does it start? What's the first step? Is it rebuilding the office structure? Is it switching off the camera in video meetings to make it more comfortable for different kind of employees? Or what is a kind of a 3-step, 4-step, 5-step program that you are using to really create the awareness, get the attention, do the first steps, have the first quick wins? What is a normal structured way of implementing it in a company if the initial kind of awareness is already there that this could be important?
I think that that's definitely the first step before you even start, is that you have the same level of information all over, all through the company. So after that, you can start with an audit. Just check your processes, your policies, and everything you need for your workflow. And then you can see, especially in HR, how inclusive are your recruiting processes? How about your onboarding? And then, of course, what's the meeting protocols? What do I have to expect? Then, of course, expectation management, very big topic as I see it. And after you set the ground basic stuff like policies and structures, you definitely work with leadership as well, psychological safety, neuroaffirmative leadership, stuff like that. So this is like the 3 steps you can build this thing.
I mean, I think it's really complex, and I mean, it's always so easy to bash the management and to really blame them for everything, because I mean they are responsible. But at the end of the day, they are humans as well, yeah, and they have to. So I mean, the world is becoming more and more complex. We have to deal with different kind of generations. We have to now deal with probably full-fledged neurodiversity. So we have to full-fledged diversity as diversity. So I mean, there's so many things coming together, and everything needs attention. Everything needs to be considered. What is the support for these guys? Because I mean, I think the most important thing is probably psychological safety, to get this kind of environment where people can really speak about it, because I think that's one of the initial problems that I faced in my career. leading a lot of teams, you don't even know that there is this kind of issue with, I don't want to call it issue because it's no issue, but you know what I mean? So there's no stamp on over there where you can see, okay, I have HDHS or something else. So I think the first thing is you come into an open communication, open discussion, and therefore you need probably this kind of safe space. But what should managers and leaders do to really come into that phase? Because I think if you don't reach that point, it's impossible because you can't smell it, you can't see it, and it's not written anywhere.
For me, it's like a mindset. So if you have a very open mindset and see, okay, everyone is an individual with individual strengths and barriers, of course. Even neurotypical or affirmative people have barriers. But in the end, if you are aware of those and have an open mind and focus on strength each individual has, I think that's a very good start.
Mm-hmm. And if you now recognize, okay, there's some members of my teams that are facing this kind of specialities, let's call it like this. What do you think is the 2, 3, 4, 5 most important things for these people? And probably we can go through some categories. If you say autism, if you say high sensibility, if you say probably HDHS, what is especially needed for people with these symptoms? What is the biggest stress? What is causing the biggest stress? What could easily be done to really help them? Do you have some kind of examples for the audience to make it a little bit clearer?
There are each neurodivergence, like you mentioned, ADHD, autism, and such. They have very individual barriers and problems, or how you want to call it. But in the end, there are some there more often than others, especially when you have neurodivergent people. They have a different style of communication. So often this leads to misunderstandings, for instance, or they need very clear guidance and tasks. Otherwise, they probably misunderstand the whole task itself. And I think the easiest way, nevertheless, if one of the team member is neurodivergent or not, is to ask them, what do you need to give your best? So that's the easiest way to solve all this.
Are they brave enough to talk about it? Are they brave enough to request things then, or is it more a kind of, because I mean, if you don't have this psychological safety, I mean, probably nobody will openly talk about it. Then, but how I mean, I think it's really tough to. I mean, you can ask people what do you especially need, but probably are not really able to describe it in the right way. So how do you open up this communication channel?
In my opinion, you don't need to open up any diagnosis or anything. It's just basic things. How do you prefer to work? Do you need remote work? Do you need hybrid work? How do you like to have your meetings with camera on, with camera off? How do you like your communication itself? So more written, more verbal. How deep do you need your documentation, stuff like that? And this is general for everyone, not only for neurodivergent people.
So that means we are stepping, or we are already in a world of really individualized workplaces. So extremely individualized workplaces.
It should, in my opinion, yes.
Okay. Is this, from a company perspective and from a business perspective, is this doable?
I think it depends on the culture, yes, and the company itself. My dream definitely is that everyone will have this level of individuality in the future, but I'm definitely aware that this is not feasible for a lot of people or for a lot of companies at this stage. But I think we can start small with maybe have a very structured policies and structures itself, but then we still have the opportunity to individualize some of it. So.
And what are the? I mean, we all see that companies try, and I see some value there as well. I'm not a big fan of full remote, because I think at the end of the day, collaboration is needed, and that is why companies employ people, because we want to discuss, we want to sit together, we want to have open discussion, we want to have problem solving on the way, and we all know that the best solutions always come at the coffee machine, and the coffee machine talks. So at the end of the day, a lot of companies try to get people back into the offices. I'm not the biggest fan of forcing people to come back to the office. So all these rigid come back to the office rule or back to the office rules, honestly, I think they're not the most clever way of doing it. I know that a lot of companies are really having a kind of more or less a scientific approach in the meantime, and I mean that extremely positive, a scientific approach of workplace experience to really set it up in a way that it really, people are willing to come to the office because they like to come to the office and they love to come to the office. So what could be, if we talk about neurodiversity or neuroinclusion, what could be easy implementable things that could be done to also solve it for neurodiverse employees?
That's something I also tell companies. You don't have, or it's the baddest thing or the worst thing you can do to force everyone back to the office. But as you said, we need something that they are willing to come freely back to the office. So this can be events, neuro-inclusive or not, at least. Those structures I mentioned before, for instance, that you have also within the workplace design areas where you can have you can be by yourself, you can have focus time, you can give your employees fidget toys, for instance. I use like these things, the little bags with different fidget toys in it for my workshops. So they're very easy, and this is one of my favorites. It's magnetic. I love this. But yeah, they're not very expensive things, but you have to consider what's needed, and then usually people come by themselves.
That means, so what I'm really looking for, because I mean you're consulting companies, and I think at the end of the day there's some kind of good experiences what really can be implemented extremely quick without a lot of effort, probably not individualized on personal level now, but so I think our audience is probably looking for a kind of, okay, this is 2 ideas. We could follow up on their ideas. We could go to our employees facing this kind of neurodiverse things, and then have a kind of a starter discussion. Would that help you? And the fidget toys thing is brilliant. And do you have some more examples what could be implemented easily? I mean, I'm thinking about office space. I mean, I was moderating a fireside chat 2 years ago at our conference in Berlin, and I was jumping in because the initial planned moderator, went ill or became ill, and I had to jump in, and I was really deep diving into the topic of neurodiverse office architecture, and we had a kind of an architect. She was really specialized on building office spaces for teams with neurodiverse team members, and I was really impressed by small and tiny things. And one example that she showed, and probably I can get your opinion on it, is that, okay, normally you have town hall meetings. Town hall meetings are extremely nice for communication. People feel involved. They get all the information, what's going on from the board. And but even there, if you have 2 or 3 people that probably are suffering with autism, they do not want to sit in the middle of the group of these people. And she said she's always planning kind of small areas with some flowers, just as a kind of a barrier in between. So it's low flowers. And then they have got extra space for these kind of team members that they feel that they have the secure place, but they part of it, but not in the middle of it. So that was how she explained it. And is there simple ideas that could be implemented quickly just to take care if I have team members that have HDHS? I mean, the fidget spinner is probably already a good solution because it helps to get kind of to solve it a little bit better. But some more ideas?
Fidget toys help focusing your or directing your focus. I think the biggest thing you have to have at the back of your mind is sensory issues. So a lot of neurodivergents have the problem or the issue that they have or get all the senses and all the sensories at the same time, at the same level. So that's why I talked about focus or how you call it? No, I'm gone. Enough focus rooms, yes. And what's the other term? So silence, yeah. So there you have space where you can just rearrange your nervous system. This is something. And on the other hand is that you can offer parts where this is something the architecture said as well, that you come together but still have some kind of separation that you don't feel exposed. So yeah, maybe did that answer your question?
Yes, of course. Yeah. I mean, it's I think it's such an important topic, and it's such a kind of a probably unexperienced topic for most of us. I mean, if you don't have it in your family, I think you're normally not in contact with these kind of things, and I think that always makes it extremely difficult because I think no one is against understanding others, but it's a kind of a communication. You need to gather some experiences, and therefore I think talking about this is so helpful if there are really 2-3 small concrete things that could be considered and discussed, not even implemented in the first step, but considered and discussed to open up the discussion to get more understanding for it. And I think that's really helpful. Yeah, and it's probably small ideas and small things and I mean I love this kind of It's very easy to implement a room of silence in an office to really create a space where people could move in to sort their senses and bring them back to the level which makes it possible for them to continue working then. So I think that's
work with the sensory issues. So dimmable light, adjustable heating, stuff like that. Sometimes not very easy or price effortless to dive in, but yeah.
I mean, now I think now we are coming to the point. So what you see with all your consulting projects? I mean, there's a kind of things that are easy to implement. There are things that are very difficult to implement. There are things that cost nothing to implement. There are things that are very expensive to implement. And I think it's always easy to go to the managers and say, okay, we have this topic. We want to address this topic. We want to face this topic now. And this is probably 2-3 ideas which could be implemented with nothing. Yeah, probably we need some time, or we need an dimmable light. I mean, dimmable light with LED light in offices is normally no really big issue. Yeah, so it's changing the switches. Yeah, probably costs nothing, but brings a lot. So and that was what I'm looking for. So let's come back to a topic which I think is probably the most difficult one, because trust can't build up like a light switch. So building up trust in an organization is normally, I think, very, very difficult. So, and I think psychological safety has a lot to do, and safe space has a lot to do with trust. How could companies start building up the trust and not having it as a buzzword. So I think I have a T-shirt where I say inclusion is no trend. I think it's mindset. Yeah. And I'm wearing that on stage. But I mean, changing a mindset and making the other know and believe that it's a mindset now and not just a term. Yeah, it takes time and is extremely difficult. So what is needed to implement that as the very, very first thing? Because I think it's the most important thing. If you don't open up this kind of area, if you don't build, if you're not able to build this safe space, I think whatever you do later on seems like a marketing campaign.
Definitely. I think one way is to always remember your opponent, that that their thinking is not the only way, and that there are multiple ways outside, and they're the same legit as their own. I think this switch of perspective is always very helpful to get people to think about, and to have more trust in the opponent of their discussion, or whatever.
If you need to sell it, if you need to let's come to the to shareholder value, and I mean, that's probably you know how to argument that, because I think there's no company out there that won't ask you the question, okay, if we invest some money there, if we invest money in the consulting and in the implementation of what you bring up later on, what's in it for us? So have you got any idea of business value? Have you got any idea of what happens if not?
There are definitely some ROI. When you look at the scientific papers, for instance, we have Microsoft, Deloitte, or SAP, and Google. They were scientifically looking deeper into that, and they come up with Microsoft, for instance, 22% higher retention rate after implementing neuroinclusive processes. We also have the biggest number with 30% more productiveness, and 20% more innovation. So what kind of company doesn't want that?
Yeah, I mean, what's the biggest? I think the biggest barrier that you feel if you're approaching new customers, if you're coming to clients. I mean, I think you're doing acquisition as well. I mean, everyone has to do probably acquisition, acquiring new customers. What is your entry statement, without telling too much secrets? But how do you grab customers' attention? What's the key? What's the key door opener? And what's the argument?
Right now, it's most of the times when I talk to HR professionals and I tell them what I do, is that, oh, I heard about that, tell me more. And this is how we get into a discussion. And then they usually, everyone somehow has a contact point, even if it's just social media or personal experience, or from the family background. So this is something that combines each and every one. And then we start from there to see, okay, as you now know what the status is, and 15 to 20% of the world, so even from your company, is neurodivergent. So this is something you need to consider while working with those people. And from then on, this is usually the story.
I mean, if you look on the political situation, if you look what's going on all over the place, I mean, if you look on the US, I mean, a lot of companies, I think we have been at a much better stage if it comes to inclusion and diversity. Probably some years ago, a couple of years ago, I think there was a big, broad discussion, a lot of positive mindset on solving that issue. And in the meantime, I have a little bit this kind of impression that it has become less important at a lot of companies, and a lot of if you just listen to politicians, I mean, I think sometimes I really think we are going 5 steps back now again. What's your take on this? Do you see it's a backlash, or are we still on track and the clever ones are focusing on it and the silly ones will die?
Probably the later, but in the end, I don't see, or I think we don't need to see, or we don't have to see neuroinclusion, neurodiversity as a DEI topic, because it's more of that. It's just, like I said, it's a business decision you need to do and you need to make, because it's already there. And if you don't consider it as important, then you will lose your employees, your innovation, and in the end, money. You need to rehire talent. And if you don't have the right surroundings and the right basics, they will leave your company again.
If you would give every company a Neuroinclusion starter kit, a small one, it's like a kindergarten suitcase, which you normally take to kindergarten with all their working stuff. What would be inside? What would you personally put in if you could choose 3 things? What would be inside?
Probably one of my neuroinclusion bags, and I really love the thing called Manual of Me. I think it's a really great tool. And there are also all those questions I mentioned before. When is your working time? What do you need? How do you like communication? Stuff like that. And the third one, probably, a meeting guide, how to set up a meeting. So there needs to be an agenda and someone who's making the documentation, stuff like that. So
would you be willing to share that kind of material with our audience? I mean, you can say no now because of course, but I mean, could we share that in a link if we communicate it, or probably just a sneaker and your address anyhow is included in a way so that people can get in contact with you if they want to know more?
Definitely.
Okay, then we will probably take that up later on when we release the episode, and we would probably provide some links and links to material. That's amazing. And with your vision of a truly neuro-inclusive workplace, how would this look like in 2035?
That psychological safety isn't just a buzzword, but it's lived. And I think this will help a lot. And from there on, you can build up your neuro-inclusive structures and policies. And this would be a very major step regarding neuroinclusion.
I personally want to add, I mean, it shouldn't even be on the agenda, because it's honestly, I think things are really solved if we don't need to be on the agenda. I think then we are there. Before we end up, because I think time is passing by extremely quickly, I want to play a quick round of this or that. So I throw some items to you and ask you quickly, without even too much thinking, pick and choose one of the 2.
Okay.
And I want to start with camera on or camera optional.
For me or general?
General, your opinion on it, if companies have to handle it?
Optional.
Ethic first or live discussion first?
What was the first one?
Async, if it comes to communication, to async first or live discussion first. So I mean, preparation or live discussion?
Preparation.
Structured agenda, open brainstorming, if it comes to meetings and collaboration?
Structured agenda.
Okay. Work style, deep work blocks or always available?
Deep work blocks.
Leadership, clarity and consistency, or flexibility and freedom?
It depends how you frame it. My first instinct would be structure.
Okay, doc. And last but not least, that's a question that I always ask my guests at the end, is if Aladdin with his magic lamp would show up at you now, offering you one wish, what would it be? It could be a private one or a business related one.
Oof. That's the one. Generally, I don't think in dreams. I just put up tasks.
I mean, you can give him a task list and say, "Come on, solve that, please."
Yeah, maybe that.
What would be one of the tasks?
Get me an working AI agent that helps my sometimes not so organized brain.
That's a good one. I think that's the first time that Aladdin hasn't solved wishes. I think it's the first time he got a task list. So that's premiere.
I'm always happy to be the first.
Yeah, of course. It was a really pleasure to have you. I think it was a really, for me, it was an inspiring discussion. I learned a lot because honestly, I'm one of the leaders that have to face this topic as well. And it's not easy if you don't have it in your private lives and if you're used to do so. So I think that's also what we always have to have in mind as well, that we're not bashing leaders and managers, because at the end of the day, they're humans as well. And I think we learn with experience, and if we experience things the first time, it's sometimes really tricky to handle it right. And I want to appeal on all the guys out there as well. It's always easy to bash leaders and managers that have to solve everything, but at the end of the day, they're humans as well. But I think it's communication. It starts with communication. And Nadine, thank you so much for your time. It was a great pleasure to have you at Cappuccino with HR. And dear audience, I hope you enjoyed as well as I did during the recording, and stay tuned for what's coming next. Goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you for watching Cappuccino with HR. If you enjoy this kind of conversations, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Then you get all this kind of upfront information, your upcoming episodes, and all my nice guests. Cappuccino with HR is brought to you by We Are Developers, Europe's #1 developer community and a leading platform for connecting HR and companies together with developers. If you want to learn more, visit us on wearedevelopers.com. Thank you again for watching, and see you next time on Cappuccino with HR.